So hopefully everybody can see me. I'll do the pop-out chat again, just in case the regular chat doesn't work properly like it wasn't doing yesterday. So there's no theme for this stream or anything. I thought I'd just do one today, as usual. I did announce on the Discord server that I was coming on around 2 o'clock UK time, so I'm only a couple of minutes late. I see I've got a like, so that hopefully means people are coming in. Yeah, the numbers are updating now. That's good. So say hello if you're on. I'll be on for about an hour. All right, Mike. Yeah, it's been a bit rainy here today, but it's been on and off. Yeah, thank you, Zeppelin. Remember to like the stream, everybody, because it seems to help them get shared. So yeah, it's been a bit weird because it was meant to be like non-stop rainy and windy all day today, but it's not actually been that rainy. I had my window open to hear if it was raining last night, and there was bits of rain now and again, but we've not so far not had, in sort of the area of Oxford I'm in, we've not had any sort of rain anywhere near as much as we were meant to. Looking at the current weather report, it says it's meant to be raining here for the next few hours, you know, like 90% chance of rain, 88% chance of rain, that sort of thing, all through until the morning, you know, like 25% or higher. Tomorrow is showing rain all day again, but currently looking at my thing, you know, as much as we're meant to be having lots of rain, it's been really off and on. So what I'm planning on doing is once the stream ends, probably going for a walk. If it's not currently tipping it down, I'll just put a light raincoat on just because I'd like to get out of the house for a bit. Hope she's all right then, Mike. I'd be a bit paranoid if I was having to look after kids with them injuring themselves and stuff, but I suppose that's all part of life, isn't it? You can't wrap them up too much to stop them hurting themselves and all that. You can't stop them having fun. If you look on some of my old videos, Stalker from the Zone, you'll see. But at the moment, every month to 2 months, I like to shave my hair completely, sort of, not with a razor, not that efficiently, but, you know, to get an electric clip without the guard on and just give it all a going over. But yeah, so annoyingly, I was saying this to people a bit yesterday. I don't know if it's my ulcerative colitis flaring a little bit, but I've been having stomach cramps yesterday and today. So that's one of the reasons I want to go for a walk, just to see if it takes my mind off of it a bit. Hopefully doing the stream will take my mind off of it a bit. But I didn't get out of bed all that early this morning because I was sort of laying in bed and it hurt a bit, so I thought I would just try and sleep as long as possible. But yeah, so no theme for this stream. People can bring up what they want. Ideally not politics, please, because there was enough miserable politics chat on yesterday's stream. All right, Rich, hope that all works all right. I need to watch your video on the Forge. I've not got around to doing that yet. I'll try and watch it this afternoon. For Mike, I probably won't be at that work party this evening because nobody's even got back to me yet again about the thing. And I think if they end up, even if they get back to me about it, sort of, you know, right on the time it's meant to start at that point, I don't think I can be bothered to risk going out. And with my stomach not being great and that, I don't really want to go to a party if there's food and all that sort of stuff there. So I don't want to keep having to run off to the toilet or whatever. So, you know, I might just have a quiet evening in, I think. Yeah, I always do on Fridays. I'm a bit of an arse because Weapon Collector does his streams in the evening. And generally in the evening, I like to just not be doing much because when I'm working at the weekend, I like to just have a nice relaxing evening where I don't think about much. Oh, that's cool. Sounds like a good idea, Stalker from the Zone, especially because the firefighter helmets are often quite expensive. Yeah, that's cool, Sam. What are you protesting? I know Bucharest's Romania, isn't it? So, what are you protesting there? As I said, I don't mind people mentioning things like that because that's not too political, but yeah, I should be on mic. I don't know, however, if I'm going to be on the chat, because obviously if I'm not feeling great, I might just pop in for a bit and then, you know, pop back out. Because if I'm not feeling great, I don't necessarily want to be sat in front of the computer all the time. I might end up going to bed quite early or whatever. I don't know anything about the government situation in Romania at all, I'm afraid. So yeah, I think when the stream ends, if it's raining heavily, I'll probably just play a video game or something. if it's not raining all that much, I'll probably just go out for a walk with a raincoat on. Yeah, cheers, Rich. I've ordered a load more CBD because I'll probably fill up one of my vape tanks with quite a high mix of CBD and a low mix of nicotine when I just want to vape CBD. But annoyingly, because the government's getting all funny about it again, a lot of places have stopped selling it. So I had to end up paying £40 yesterday. You might have heard on Mike's stream for 30 millilitres of 300 mg, which isn't awful prices, but it's a lot more expensive than it used to be. Used to be for like 10 quid get 200 mg 10 milliliter. So again, it's not too that much difference in price, but really when I buy CBD, I'd rather buy a smaller bottle, which is quite strong, more frequently. But you know, I just have to do it this way because obviously, at least getting a bigger bottle, if they end up banning CBD or restricting it more, at least I've got some to get on with. UK time is just coming up to about 2:10, and that's in the afternoon, not the morning. Yeah, it's World War I chemicals, nerve agents, and the later series of nerve agents, so G nerve agents, and you probably can't see the one on that side because my head's in the way, but yeah. Also, this came in the post today, so maybe I'll watch this afternoon. It's actually got 3 films on here, which I didn't realise. It's got Atomic Journeys, which was the one I thought was on there, Atomic Filmmakers, and Nuclear 9/11 or Nuclear 9/11, whatever it's meant to be. I watched Nuclear 9/11 because that was uploaded to YouTube yesterday. Nuclear 9/11 is all about Broken Arrow incidents where they had, like, you know, bombs dropped accidentally and stuff like that, and like cleanup operations on them. Atomic Journeys is all about the different test sites. Atomic Filmmakers, I think, is about the people involved in filming a lot of the nuclear blasts. But this is done by the people who did Trinity and Beyond. I think Shatner narrates some of these. Adam West narrates that one, Nuclear 9/11. But yeah, I don't know if there's any special features on here. I don't think there is, but mostly it's one from the documentaries. But it's good I got 3 on here because I was only expecting to get 1. It was only £2 for this DVD secondhand. And they're quite hard to get these in the UK because they're mostly like a US release one. Disc looks quite good condition as well, so that's good. Did you lower control rods or not? Yeah. Also, I hope the mic levels and everything are okay, because at the moment, for whatever reason, it's not showing me how loud the mic is, which is always helpful. So I don't know how efficiently it's doing that, but whatever. Yeah, Atomic Central is the company, Sam, that does those DVDs, but often Atomic Central is, you know, like short little clips from the films, whereas these are like the full documentaries they did. Depending on where you are, Fee, it's been raining a lot in some areas. In my areas, it's been off and on, even though we're meant to have non-stop heavy rain all day. The winds have definitely been getting up, but as I said, if it's not raining or it's raining very lightly when the stream ends, I'm going to go for a walk. All right, General? Oh, that's good, Richard. Yeah, because that's the annoying thing. It's not showing me my mic levels, which it normally does, because they always keep changing the interface on here, and it's annoying because you never get used to it, because it's all right, and then they change it, then you have to get used to how it looks on the new one, then they change it again. All right, Mike. Yeah, if you're streaming tomorrow, as I said, I'd probably miss it anyway, just because obviously it'd be nice to see other people if they're around, but yeah, just because tomorrow I think it's my aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. So my parents said to me, could I go out for a meal with them, you know, to be polite and all that? And I said, yeah, because I probably won't be paying for the food. They might do a thing like last time where if I drive them, they'll buy my dinner for me. So I might just do that, because the petrol money is definitely a lot lower than the price of the, you know, food. Positive void coefficiency, Sam. You donate, Beeben, as I've said over and over again. As soon as you've donated, you can get an invite link if you give me your Discord ID. Or you can do it via Patreon, whatever. If I was able to, I'd give people links as well and buy the merch, but sadly there's no way of contacting people via Teespring. Yeah, exactly, Mike, especially if it's food that would normally be like £10 to £20 for meal, you know what I mean? Right, if you say you're cool, I'm sure you must be cool then, dingo. Yeah, that's a nice thing today, even though we're not getting much rain. The weather outside is a lot cooler today, so I can just open some of the windows in the house and it actually keeps the house cool. I've been playing about with this a bit more today, but I've still not managed to pick anything up on it that's interesting to listen to. I'm going to definitely have to see if I can just find a list somewhere of frequencies in my area, even though, yeah, people aren't meant to share those. I'd like to actually just test it works properly by listening into some stuff. Oh, what do you mean the short brown one, Sam? That's like a little coffee can one. It was when they did it, the kits with the GP5 that have the hose in, they have that filter. If it's just a regular GP5 kit, it has the green filter that goes directly on the mask. But yeah, I know which filter you mean. It's like an EO16 filter, but smaller. All right, cheers, Beeban. Right, what you need to do now, post your Discord ID, and then I can invite you to the server. Let me load my Discord up. I have to send you a friend's request, and then when you accept that, I can send you an invite. Because I don't think you can directly invite people via their ID. Right, thank you. Let me copy that now. Right, there we go. Then thank you very much for donation as well. I appreciate it because it always goes towards masks and things like that. Paste. You've not posted your name correctly. Double check how it's spelled. But that's not it because you've either not got the spaces right or the capitalizations or the numbers. Yeah, cheers. If you do, Twitter them me, Mike, and I'll try any of them because you're not too far from me. So some of them I might still be able to pick up. Yeah, so Beeban, if you double check your ID, it's not because it's not adding you. Right, let me just start trying it without the things in it, without the dash and things like that. But we've had this problem with other people where they've not actually copy and pasted it correctly and it takes ages to get them. All right, try copy and pasting it again, just in case it missed a bit off, but that won't be your name because otherwise it would work. Because every time somebody said that, they go back and check it and realise there's... All right, okay, cool. Try pasting it again just in case. Right, let me try that one. Yeah, that one works. There we go. Right, so if you accept that, then I can invite you. It won't let... There we go. Thank you. Invite to server. There we go. Right, you've got your invite. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the donation. I've got another full face panoramic mask coming soon, so obviously money from donations all goes towards stuff like that. Well, the British Army ones are, but I'm sure with this one, if you get an adapter, that's obviously the bit for the headpiece or the microphone input. Sorry, it's probably too dark to actually see that properly, but there's the input there. So yeah, you could, if you get one that converts the Klansman radio thing to that, you could just use it on that like that. Least favourite gas mask, maybe the Scott GSR, I don't know. Hard to say. Actually, no, I'd say my least favourite out of all the ones I've got is that Chinese pewter gas mask. Because that's the one where the straps keep pinging off and the rubber of the mask is too soft for the weight of a filter being on it. So I'd say that one, because at least the Scott GSR works to an extent, even if I'm not a fan of it. The pewter one, I literally would never want to use in any sort of scenario, because I'd be pretty confident that the straps would ping off or it would just cave away from your face. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, Chris. Yeah, it sort of doesn't surprise me, actually. It's like when I looked and trying to get my Russian tank helmet, getting a converter to plug that in, it was very expensive and, yeah, like bulky, as you say, to get the attachments. I never bothered. That's strange, Stalker, but I think that might apply to some countries as well, like other countries. Yep. You can get an FP5 filter, Ben. You can get modern Chinese or Russian filters. They're safe and will fit on Ghost masks. Or you can get some mask poles, other things. Next week, so I wanted to do it this week, but I ran out of time, was doing other videos. I'm going to try and get a video filmed where I try a few different NATO masks, Ghost masks, and masks that should be normalised with an assortment of different mask pole filters, just to see if they definitely work on all the masks, because some people have said to me, like, an FP5 filter doesn't work on a particular mask. I've never found that yet. So again, it might be down to the filter thread itself's quality and the mask's filter, like, intake quality. Because, for example, my GP7 is really bad at taking filters just because it's a shittily made 40mm GOS port on there. Mine's got the smooth texture on it. I'm not a prepper. Generally, the green ones with the smooth texture on the outside are the ballistic nylon ones. The black ones with the rougher texture are the Kevlar ones. I think the Mark 6A is the black one, isn't it? Which is the better one. The Mark 6 standard, like I've got, is the ballistic nylon one, which is about as useful as wet toilet paper on your head. That's all right, Chris. I'm not really planning on using it, to be honest, because of all like the weird laws we have on it. But thanks anyway. I appreciate that. But yeah, tell you what though, if on the Discord thing you find any good tutorials for this radio, post them on there, please, because I would like to watch some proper tutorials on this. I did watch a couple of Ringway Manchester videos on it, which were good, but they were about doing very specific things on the radio, not like just a general tutorial of, like, this are the functions easily explained in English. I'm sure there are videos like that on YouTube, just I've not found them yet. Yeah, I've got one of those, Stalker. I haven't worn it in ages, but I do have one. It's like a West German one from the 70s or the 80s. The thing is, patriotic Brit, I get dislikes on every video. People are free to dislike, but I'm sure some people just do it to be irritating. So the best thing is not to give them attention. If they want to dislike it, don't mention they've disliked it, because I think that's why they do it, to be honest. Yeah, it's weird, Richard, isn't it? But I think you just get some people who are a bit sad and do that. I don't know if Laser sent me that one, Chris. He sent me a few which were about specific laws and like channels that covered a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you find one, just send it, please, and then I can check it out when I've got the time to watch it. So annoyingly, the manual of mine came in German, which isn't much use to me. I found pictures online that were quite good, which showed all the buttons, you know, like arrows coming off of them, what they do, you know, the side buttons and the front buttons. So that's useful, but it'd be nice if there's kind of like an initial setup tutorial, like you get it, you know, scan on these sort of frequency ranges to try and pick stuff up. If you can hear that, it's just my computer fan revving up and revving down when the temperature gets to a certain thing. It's a bit irritating, but at least it doesn't crash. Right, actually, I'm going to have a quick look on my cyber power thing and see if there's an update on the day the PC's coming. But I think the 19th of August is still the current date. So hopefully that doesn't get pushed back again, but we'll see. Estimated shipping date's the 12th now, so that's what, Monday? Right, I really hope it is this Monday. That'd be nice if it comes next week rather than 2 weeks Monday, but yeah, that's good. I'll still hold my breath on that, or not hold my breath on that, because at the moment they have to keep pushing those back, but hopefully they are rushing out the CPUs to suppliers a bit faster now. Dog gas masks are pretty cool, General, but they're not really made very much anymore, because it was more of a thing for World War I, World War II. Generally, Richard, I like videos I watch and enjoy, otherwise I just don't leave a comment, don't dislike them, I just don't bother watching anymore from that channel if I don't actually like the videos they make. What's really interesting, Jasmine? Oh, cool. What, the English box respirator kind of one? The box respirator, sort of corrected English model, or just the small box respirator, whatever it's called. Because I know there's a load of different names for pretty much the same masks, but well, as long as they're not charging me for it, I wouldn't mind getting an empty box, because I could always cut it up for cardboard or use it for storage. Yeah, it does. I showed that in the Stream Stalker. I put a finish filter on there and it actually fit fine. Alright, thanks Chris, I'll check them out later when I've got a bit of spare time. Once this stream ends, depending on the weather, I'm either going to go for a walk just to see if I can get my mind off my stomach being irritating, or watch 2 of the films on here. I already watched Nuclear 9/11 yesterday, so I don't need to watch that one again, because that was on YouTube. But I don't know, some of it might have been because my granddad liked to talk to me about World War II, but I've always just found like history of warfare pretty interesting. There's certain periods in warfare I find more interesting than others, but in general, I just like collecting historical antiques just because it's kind of an interesting thing, and a bit more, interesting to hold a rifle than it is a stamp kind of thing. And obviously people like watching these videos, so it's a win-win really. It's content I enjoy making as a hobby, and other people watch it, and it makes me a little bit of money on the side, so that's always nice. But let's see if you're off patriotic bit, Rip, even. No, sometimes they use coloured paint on certain masks to indicate things. I really don't know, to be honest. Right, I'll tell you what tonight's video is, because I can't remember without looking. It's in the video that goes live at 5 PM, and I'll tell you what Sunday's one is as well. Right, what's today's date? August 9th. Right, typically tonight's video is like one result below the thing. Right, okay, today's video is on the cheap Chinese panoramic respirator I bought. That's quite interesting because it's actually a fairly good mask. Not as good as things like the Italian Spaziani, but £30 for whatever it is for a brand new mask is pretty damn good. August the 11th, so Sunday's video is on the cheap homemade particle mask I made, which is in the background there. Oh, I was just a bit worried then. I was looking up on my real-time views, and it says I've only had 14,000 views over the last 48 hours. So that seemed very low, but then there's an exclamation mark that says we are experiencing issues with the system for real-time data. This may cause inaccurate view counts and reports of video performance. We're working on the issue. Well, I was a bit worried then. I thought, has everybody suddenly stopped watching my videos? But yeah, apparently it's the YouTube fault as usual. Well, that's interesting, Chris. Didn't know that. I know with like things like some of the Avon masks, they put like blue things on them, didn't they, for police use or civilian use. And also in some things it was like to indicate if it was a mask being given to a civilian, not military personnel. Yeah, you can't have too many of these things if you collect them, unless it gets to the point where you're hoarding and it's interfering with your actual real life. If you're buying so many masks, you're bankrupting yourself, whatever. But I'm not at that stage yet. That's up for Mike to decide, Rita. I'm sure he might do it for you. Yeah. In general, the thing is, if you're watching a stream, don't make weird comments, because when you're trying to moderate streams, it can be quite hard sometimes for people to tell if people are joking or not, so they can get blocked quite easily. So yeah, a lot of the time we do undo blocks on streams, but people can get blocked quite easily if they just keep spamming the chat with stupid shit or whatever. Yeah, with the police, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like if they're a sergeant or whatever else. Because I saw that with some of the Salisbury stuff with the nerve aid nerve agent like that. Where you could see certain police guys had different colours on their FM12s. That's interesting, Chris. Yeah. Replica gas masks should be pretty easy to look after, Patriotic Brick, because they should be, not falling apart because they're essentially brand new. But just do the same thing with a regular mask, I'd say. Keep it out of direct sunlight. Ideally, store it in a satchel bag if you've got one. Don't put weight on it. That's an important thing. Like that poster says there, carelessness means death. Take care of your gas mask. Don't sit on it. It's not a pillow or a knapsack. That's good advice. Don't throw loads of shit on top of a gas mask, ideally, because that's why a load of them get kind of crushed into weird shapes. Because obviously they're meant to sit, and kind of keep their original shape. Whereas if you store it at the bottom of a wardrobe or something with loads of other bits of weight on them, it means that they can deform the mask. Yeah, I know, General. I'm not trying to collect every gas mask ever made, because if I was trying to do that, I'd be seriously bankrupting myself, because some old military masks are really expensive, like several grand a mask, and I'm not going to be paying that for a mask. Is anybody doing anything fun today or the weekend? As I said, I'm working at the weekend, but I'm hoping it won't be too busy as usual. Right. It's the annoying thing is where I've got the pop-out chat. If ever I change tab, I have to keep getting the pop-out chat back up. Mike should be live tonight at 9 PM, I imagine. Have a good time at the pub then. I'm probably not going to be drinking much this weekend, to be honest. Never know saying that. Right, if you've got a serious headache that won't go, it might be worth seeing a doctor just in case it's anything more serious. In general, the best over-the-counter painkillers for headaches is paracetamol, because as far as I'm aware, they interact more with the stuff that causes headaches. You can't buy them. This is like a pharmacy one. You can't get them in these big containers. Just be careful of paracetamol, because you can't take more than 2 every 4 hours, because it can cause serious liver damage and death. If you've got a more serious thing causing chronic headaches, you may be given opioids or whatever else on prescription as well. But in general, often there's an underlying cause of headaches. One of the weird things of headaches is often apparently it can be if you have a bad back or a bad neck, that can lead to headaches, even though it's nothing to do with your head. That really depends. I quite like different kinds of spirits, but I think what I enjoy drinking the most is probably a good Pilsner or a good ale, in terms of having a pint of it or 2 pints of it. So a decent bitter or a decent Pilsner. The best beers I've ever had have been some Belgian ones, like Delirium and Guillotine, which are really strong kind of blondes, like a 7.5 or 8.5%. Almost like a litre size bottle. They're bloody good, but you only want one really in an evening because of the alcohol content and the size of the bottle. Ask your doctor. I'm really not in the good sort of thing to give people advice on stuff like that. It can depend on the person as well. Tramadol has more side effects, but I think it's weird. Tramadol, right, in the UK, is classed as a less serious drug than codeine, despite the fact tramadol is actually stronger. And I think it's because of the thing that people die on lower amounts of tramadol and codeine, so it's harder to abuse it. But again, I'm not a massive fan of Heineken. It's all right, but most like commercial kind of supermarket brand type lagers, I find are okay, but I'm just not a massive fan of them. But a lot of the time with things like addiction to tablets, it actually comes down to how long you're on them and if you have more of an addictive personality. Because there's some people that can basically get addicted to any sort of substance, whereas other people can basically take something fine for years and never go above the recommended amount or whatever. I mean, personally, because obviously I have opioids now on repeat for ulcerative colitis pain, I can definitely see why people could get hooked on them. But, I know not to keep taking them more than I need to, because it means they work less effectively because you build up a resilience to them and you're going to, get hooked on them. Oh, PS4 audio stream's better than nothing, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, I've had stuff lost in postage before. Thankfully, never when I've sold anything on eBay. I don't sell gas masks on eBay, but now and again I sell other stuff on eBay or help my dad sell old stuff to clear out, room for the house. But when buying stuff, just contact, send a message to the seller, and what they should then do is refund you or send you another one. If they don't, then get eBay involved, and then they'll just refund you. All right, Gabriel? Yeah, definitely see the doctor, because the problem is if you've got a non-stop headache or something like that, it could be not to worry you, but it could be an underlying more serious thing. And obviously what you want to do is try and have that investigated, not just keep masking it with painkillers. Because in an ideal world, if you've got something wrong with you, you should be given painkillers while they try and cure you of it. The problem that a lot of people get into is they'll keep taking painkillers and develop a painkiller addiction because, they've not had whatever fixed, kind of thing. But like for me, the problem is with ulcerative colitis, it's incurable. They can treat it with different medications, but they can only treat it, they can't cure it. And the medications to treat it aren't like stable. Sometimes you'll have good days, sometimes you have bad days on them. So again, you end up being kind of on painkillers for life just to be able to manage it. Because that, again, we don't really want to turn this into a depressing medical stream, but I don't mind sort of talking about UC because it's one of those things where ideally you kind of want to raise awareness of it, because it's one of those diseases where a lot of people get it and don't want to talk about it because they find it embarrassing. But I don't think that's helpful to people who have it or are worried about being screened for it or whatever. But the thing is with it is that quite often it will then lead to like mental health problems, because what ends up happening is where you're in chronic pain every day or you have lots of other symptoms, it really starts to get to you. When you first are diagnosed with a chronic illness, I know this is a thing me, like to start with, you're kind of in denial about it. And then you have to get to the acceptance stage because, to start with, you're like, why did this happen to me? It's really not fair. And obviously life isn't fair and all that sort of stuff. But you obviously have to learn to deal with it because it's not going to go away. So you have to have the most positive attitude you can to it and try and treat it rather than just saying, why have I got this? It's not fair. It's UC, not OC, but at the moment it's under control, but I've been having a couple of days recently where I've been getting more stomach pains again. So what I can do is there's ways I can try and treat my UC better at home. I can go on to stronger doses of painkillers if need be for a temporary period. My doctor did say if I get a really bad UC flare-up again, they would consider putting me on tramadol or morphine for it rather than just codeine. But ideally, I want to stay away from stronger opioids because, as I said, I do know there are dangers of opioids. And as much as, it would be nice to have some morphine, I definitely can understand why it's probably not an idea just to give me a load of morphine to sit around with in my house. Diazepam, though, is for... is diazepam like a benzo? It's like Valium, isn't it, diazepam? That's for like muscle spasms, isn't it? For me, Iron Man, it's intestinal. It's the colon. It's the colon that's closer to your ass. What's it called? Is that the short or long colon? I can't remember. But UC affects that. If you've got Crohn's disease, it affects your entire digestive system. But yeah, it's the intestines, Iron Man. Not so much the stomach. But again, it's all kind of linked together, isn't it? Yeah, I've had Valium before when I had a lot of back problems a few years ago. And Valium is something that, yeah, I'd be very worried, even though I don't think I've got an addictive personality. If I had Valium on repeat, I'd find it probably quite hard to stop taking it because of how good it makes you feel. Just eBay trysts, like I get all that sort of stuff. If you look on eBay for long enough, you'll find pretty much anything. It's not meant to be a medical stream, Iron Man, but it sort of got brought up and I kept talking about it because at least it keeps the conversation going. That is I'll put the webcam a bit more that way so you can see it. There's a Draeger M65 on the far left, and the one in the middle is the Bulgarian PG1. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even realise the phone would work that well on that height, but that's very interesting to know. Well, most of the stuff I collect stuff from is the Cold War sort of period. So I'm just going to flick that other light on. My room's warming up a bit, but at least the weather outside today, I'll open the door when the stream ends, and then it should cool down quickly. Mostly Cold War, because I find the Cold War pretty fascinating, especially because there were proxy wars, but the main thing never kicked off, and I find all the civil defence stuff and all that surrounding the Cold War interesting. Also find a lot of medieval warfare stuff quite interesting. Yeah, I never really thought that the Y2K or U2K would be good at stopping like water getting through, but I suppose that's a good point. To my family and close friends, sure, because I've got enough hand filters. But like for every random person, no. Don't know if it'd be a good idea for me to try raw meat, Iron Man, considering what my stomach's like. Honey's good, because that's a good natural like antibacterial. It's all interesting stuff, but a lot of it I do with my consultant's advice, to be honest, because they obviously know the most about it. Because I've mentioned this before, but one of the dilemmas I have is I see actual consultants once or twice a year about ulcerative colitis stuff. And obviously a lot of the time you just have to go and see your GP. But the issue is that the consultants really know what they're talking about, but often the GPs don't, because they're a jack of all trades sort of thing. So often my consultant will say, I'm going to send a letter to your GP and I want him to put this on repeat prescription for you. I want him to give you it for a couple of months and see how you get on with it. And then my GP will be like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not going to put you on it. That's a good thing. Yeah, with it, I didn't even know that either. Yeah, I think the good thing with the U2K is because it goes into your chin like that, doesn't it? And then around there, rather than it being one that kind of just sits on the slim area like that, where it goes into your face, it's actually more comfortable. All right, Hannibal. You see, if you don't respond to medication, yes, it will be fatal. It will certainly shorten your lifespan. It massively increases your risk of colon cancer. When my UC was more of a risky stage, they were giving me like biopsies a couple of times a year to check for colon cancer developing. But as it's not been so bad for me recently, they've not needed to do that. But yeah, it can lead to a whole host of other things. But yeah, it's one of those shitty things to have, but you just sort of have to deal with it, really. But yeah, if you weren't given medication for it, it would be fatal, because your colon essentially gets destroyed by your immune system. They don't really know, Iron Man. I'd imagine it is, because other people in my family have had like colon-related diseases and illnesses. But it's weird. You don't essentially normally get it. You can get it at any point in your life, but most people don't get it until they're in the 15 to 25 years of age thing. Then all of a sudden you'll go from a day being fine where your immune system suddenly says, that colon in your body doesn't belong to you, I'm going to constantly start attacking it. I didn't know that, Chris, but that'd be good, because it means I could convert my M50 to be 40mm rather than having to get a C50. The easiest way of screwing a Mark 7, I'm not a prepper, is to get a large Mark 6 cover, like the MTP or Desert One or whatever, put that on it, and then there's lots of bits in the cover where you can thread a scrim net through, because it's got like that kind of material on it that's, you know, like got the you know, like every inch of it, they've got those kind of like bands on it, so you can thread stuff through. Yeah, I was on about CBD earlier. It seems to help me, but it's not a miracle cure. It's like better to take it than not to take it, but it's not, you know, like magic fix all thing. Protein powder doesn't seem to have an effect on it, Iron Man, for good or but for bad. At points I've tried protein powder, and it doesn't seem to make much difference for good or bad, so, you know. Right, see you, Stalker from the Zone. Thanks for joining in the chat. Yeah, I was on about earlier on, I've had to buy some more CBD, and because the UK is getting funny on cannabis again, unfortunately, even though we were moving towards decriminalisation quite rapidly beforehand, the new government's decided, no, if we just simply make everything illegal, people won't take it, which has never worked in the past. So now they're putting pressure on a lot of retailers not to sell CBD, even though it's legal, which is just a really shitty scenario. Where I bought some from the other day, let me just get it up for you. Well, actually, what might be a better place to buy it? I bought mine from Vape UK, but a place Peach recommended, who's a mod on the chats, is this place, House of CBD London, and their prices do seem a bit better. Let me just link them. This is for the UK at least. But again, what you need to do is check what the prices are for different. Let me just put my actual birthday in just so I can get on there. But you want to essentially get the strongest mg possible of CBD in the highest capacity bottle at the best price. I know that should be obvious advice, but some people end up paying quite a lot for like 100 mg CBD, which isn't really worth it. But yeah, in general, obviously, if you buy a more concentrated CBD, e-liquid or liquid, you don't need to use as much each time. I've never had CBD in pill form. I've had it before in the one where you put the droplets under your tongue, but sometimes that can taste quite horrible. So I found vaping is quite effective because it kicks in pretty quickly if you vape it, because obviously it goes through the lung lining rather than it having to go through the digestive system. I mean, if you want, Sam, at some point next week, I can do a theme stream where we mostly talk about Chernobyl and nuclear disasters. That might be a good idea. Cheers. Yeah, I don't think I've done a specific stream. Quite often Chernobyl gets brought up in streams, but we've never done a specific stream on Chernobyl. Yeah, I find as well, nicotine helps with ulcerative colitis as well quite a lot. So at the moment, I've got a mix of nicotine and CBD in a vape tank, and that's quite good. But again, it doesn't fix the problem. It just helps. Yeah, I mean, personally, I like the idea more of 40mm filters than the like bayonet sort of filter systems. I know why militaries were keen on the bayonet system, because in theory it gives you better levels of protection when you're changing the filter, especially against stuff that's really dangerous like nerve agents. So I know why they thought bayonet systems are a good idea, but in general I just think 40mm is good enough. And as other people and myself have said before, what you could do is just develop a mask where you've got like a little key on the mask. So when you go to change a filter, you turn the key to seal a valve, you take the filter off, you put your new filter on, and you reopen the key. That would work fine. Yeah, it's an autoimmune condition. It's called ulcerative colitis, also known as a type of inflammatory bowel disease, but I have ulcerative colitis rather than Crohn's disease because there's the two. But it's often just shortened as UC. But basically what happens, it's where your body's immune system suddenly thinks your colon doesn't belong in your body anymore, and your antibodies start attacking your own colon, destroying it. So it basically destroys you from the inside out. So you have to be given medication to counter the effect of your immune system attacking you. There's currently no cure for it. If UC gets really bad for some people, they generally have to have a surgery where their colon's removed and then being given one of those stoma bags, or whatever they're called. Thankfully, mine isn't as bad as that, but as said, I have days where sometimes it goes bad, and other days where I don't notice it at all. I've heard people say that, Joseph, but I've never seen any videos or evidence that it can be done. Alright, hopefully they do. I've got a CM4, but I'd like to get a panoramic variant of the CM4 at some point. Yeah, if you buy it from a major manufacturer like seller, you're not going to have a problem. But yeah, I'd be careful about dodgy sort of people selling CBD oil slightly below market price. Yeah, cheers. Hype. Like I said, I'm generally quite good at keeping on top of it. It's just now and again, like at the moment, you'll get days where it's bad. But at least now I can get painkillers and that on repeat prescription. So when it gets really bad, I can at least fall back on the opioids. But as I've said before, you don't want to become reliant on opioids because of just how dangerous an addiction they can be. If you suddenly start thinking, well, I'll take loads of codeine, tramadol, morphine, whatever to get over the pain, yeah, it helps you get over the pain and it makes you feel good. But an opioid dependence is probably one of the worst things you can develop. Obviously, look what it does to people who get heroin addictions. Just will destroy your life, basically. I've tried omega-3 before. I think it helps slightly, but again, not majorly. The problem I found with ulcerative colitis, there's lots of things that are meant to help. You can spend a lot of money on them, and they seem to help in a minor way, but not enough to justify how much money you're going to be spending on them. That's interesting, Chris. Yeah. I'm not going to put on a gas mask now. Actually, tell you what, just for you, mate, I will. Why not? Hang on, which one should I get out? I don't want to take one off that display thing. Tell you what, let's put this bad boy on. Let me get the newspaper out of him. Maybe he's started going out more to his proper shape now. Oh yeah, look at that. He's not caving in on himself so much. Yeah, you have to develop a lot of willpower, to be honest, if you get a chronic illness, otherwise it will destroy you. Right, there we go. I'm not going to be able to do the back bits up, but there's a Volks Mask 44. As I said, this doesn't pressurize because it definitely leaks air in through the fabric now on the lenses and everything. But there you go. German VM44 last ditch mask of Nazi Germany. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exhale out the exhale valve either. Oh, it's got some bits of dust in my eye there. That's quite painful, but yeah. That's good. Stuffing it with paper has started making it keep its shape more. So I'm going to put that newspaper back in now. Just because obviously that is quite helpful at keeping the shape of it. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks or so it will actually be good to display without the newspaper in it. Just squeeze all that back in. I'm doing the same thing with my GM30 at the moment. I'm putting a load of newspaper in it to see if I can get it to look more like an actual GM38 shape. But I've never personally had a mask that has fallout on them, but just to prove to you, I actually have a way of checking for that if I so desire. But I mean, this is a pre-nuclear sort of war mask. But, yeah, just to prove it. that definitely works. So if masks are radioactive, I would be able to find that out, but I don't think I have a single radioactive mask. I just find it interesting to collect that sort of stuff. And obviously, as I said, thanks to anybody that does donate, because obviously I can use donations to help me buy more stuff. If I was just doing it from like YouTube money alone and work money, I wouldn't be able to get as much stuff. But as some people are really nice and donate, you know, even if it's just a small amount, it's nice. It just helps me get more stuff, especially because sometimes people donate and say, can I use that towards a certain mask? And of course, if they've donated money, I'd be very happy to get something, as long as it's something I can actually get. But I'm all right, Compot, thank you. Yeah, Now was on it, Iron Man, you missed it. Yeah, exactly, Hype. It's, yeah, the probability is very low, isn't it? I'm sure it would be possible, like, let's say not impossible, but it's like a 0.00 something percent that you'll be lucky enough, maybe if you want to have one, even if you were looking for one, it'd be very hard to get the closest I've heard to contaminated masks is some Milsup masks still having a bit of CS powder on, which causes like eye irritation if you put the mask on without washing it. But that's like the closest, you know, where it was just used in tear gas testing. So there's a bit of CS powder somewhere on the mask. That's the worst I've ever heard about in terms of contamination on masks. Because you're so obsessed with her, Iron Man. What's GLM? Sorry, Compot. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head. Oh, hello. My name's ICG. Welcome to the stream. I'll be on another 10 or so minutes. I really can't tell you, I'm not a prepper, but I imagine thousands of pounds. Oh, gin. Sorry, I read that as JLN, not JIN. Gin. I've never been a massive fan of gin, to be honest. I don't hate it. If I was offered a decent gin for free to drink, I wouldn't mind, but there's other spirits I prefer to gin. And then, like I said, I quite like bitters and things like that. I generally prefer when I'm drinking to have like liqueurs or beers, basically, just because I find they go down a bit easier. It's a bit more social to slowly sip a beer than it is just to neck, you know, shots. Well, Beefeater gin. I've tried Bombay Sapphire before, and that was all right. It's Bombay Sapphire, isn't it? Well, I said, I've tried gins. It's just I've never been a massive fan of gin. It's just I'm not a massive fan of how gin tastes, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure if you mix gin with certain things, it'd be really nice, but you know, it's one of those things where personally with spirits, rum is a spirit I really like, to be honest. Especially certain types of spiced rum. I think they just have really nice flavors. If you want to change the conversation to something, mate, you can always try that. Because sometimes people bring up an interesting new topic to talk about. But there's a couple of cocktails I used to have when I went out drinking with friends more often. I'm trying to remember what they are, but it was often the ones I liked, is where rather than fizzy drinks, they put sort of different types of fruit juices in it. Like, you know, where you'd have orange juice or pineapple juice or something like that with vodkas and rums and things like that. Sometimes you'd have like little bitters, or whatever they're called. Is it Agosnosks? There's something like that, bitters they're called. I've got some in the drinks cabinet, and they're quite good, making, you know, a sweeter drink a bit more bitter. Mal, my favourite one's that one, just simply because it's got the alpha probe on it, and it's got the higher map. You know, it goes to 2,000 counts per second, which is pretty high. So this is my favourite one, just because, of course, I can read stuff like a Mericinium with this, where you can't really with a normal Geiger counter. You just get the bit of gamma coming off of it. So like with that there. Because obviously if I was just to put this on and just get a regular beta reading off of that, beta and gamma, it'd be very low. So this is my most advanced Geiger counter because it's got the alpha probe on it. But in terms of like practicality, the SOX01M, just because you can fit it in your pocket. But yeah, out of all my Geigers, even though it's not a military model, that's definitely my favourite one, just because it makes loud, proper old-fashioned clicking noise. It's got a needle on it, and you can read alpha sources with it. I've been streaming for 55 minutes, apparently, so far. It depends where you are. I know in the UK you can make beer legally and all that without all the distilling licenses, but I know distilling alcohol is quite a dodgy thing, as in spirits, because you can go blind easily if you fuck it up. Like beer and wine is a lot safer to make if you're making it at home, but I've never really bothered with homebrew, just because I don't think I drink enough really to justify making it. I mean, it might be fun to do as an experiment at some point, but in all honesty, because I don't drink a lot, and I'll go through phases sometimes where I won't touch alcohol for months, you know, it's one of those things where quite often, because I'm not going to be spending much on alcohol, I'll just buy a bottle of something when I feel like it, rather than, sadly, I don't have a Fallout bunker. I wish I did. No, I don't have any US NBC gear other than a couple of masks and an M17 hood. There might be some people in the chat who are more familiar with US NBC gear. It's just very hard to get over here. If I was the traffic warden from Fred's Iron Man, I'd be that traffic warden. But I don't like... I suppose if I had to be one as a conventional one, a modern police officer, as long as I had pepper spray and something like that. But I wouldn't really want to be either, to be honest. Especially where a traffic warden might just get beaten, have the shit beaten out of you by somebody you want to put a ticket on their car. And I don't even like traffic wardens, so there you go. Nothing against actual traffic wardens, it's just one of those jobs which, you know, I don't think a nice person would do a job like that unless they really had to. That sounds interesting, Sam. Favourite beer? As I was saying earlier, the best ones I've had are some Belgian ones. Let me see if I can find... Right, okay. I'll get you some images up of them. Oh, there's some places that actually sell them, so let me see if I can link to them then, if YouTube doesn't get super anal that I'm linking to alcohol on the stream. Oh, that's actually cheaper than I thought it would be. I'm very tempted to buy some of this now, just to how good it is, right? So this is Delirium, which I've had before, which is really nice. Oh, the link's too long, sadly, to go on YouTube. Let me just see if I can take a load of the URL out and see if it will still load. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll just post the names in the chat of what they're called. So this is a very good beer. And also... the Guillotine is another really nice one. It's the same company that makes them. They're very similar beers. They're Belgian beers. There you go. Don't think I've ever used a Bliss lighter. Let me Google it. The only thing coming up that looks remotely like a lighter is just an electric arc one. And again, you get those under all sorts of different brand names. Hype found a link for one of them for me, the one with the big nose clip. The other I just found on eBay. If you type in Y2K, type in Y2K respirator and see if any come up. But they're either called U2K or Y2K. I think one's the Cyrillic name for it, the other's the English name. But if you search those sort of general terms on eBay, you'll generally find some for sale. But it seems to be one of those things where a load will be on there, they'll sell out, then a bit later on the seller will put another listing up for them. I've got a few knives I consider to be cool. What type do you mean? Military knives, bayonets, pocket knives? This is one of my favourite pocket knives. Whoops, I shouldn't have flicked it out so easily, should I have on the stream? Might get in trouble now while they're changing the knife laws. This one's also really good with the thumb studs, the Ganzo. I've got this one really sharp, so it's great when I'm volunteering and I need to open packaging, because you just literally pull it across and it cuts something straight away. Bolo knife. I think I have a bolo machete somewhere, but not like a smaller like bolo kind of knife. But yeah, my favourite bayonet, if it's easily available in my drawer. Oh, there's an old VZ58 bayonet for anybody interested. Is it VZ58 or VZ56? I can't remember, but the Czech one, Czech Republic, Czechoslovakian one. They're like not an AK, but this is one of my favourite bayonets. It's the Swiss bayonet that went on the Sturmgewehr 57 or the SIG 510, whatever you want to call it. This is just like a really nice, big, proper steel bayonet. For the quality of this, £40 wasn't bad at all, I think, which is what it cost me. Knuckle dusters, sadly, are illegal now in the UK. Weapon Collector used to have a really big knuckle duster collection. He was king of the knuckle dusters, then he had to get rid of his because of our politicians fucking the laws up. Like, a criminal wouldn't care about the law if they're using knuckle dusters. There's lots of alternatives to knuckle dusters you can use, which would be totally legal. I mean, up until the point you're assaulting somebody. But, you know, like a metal carabiner or anything that went around your hand, it would work the same way. But they basically went, oh, knuckle dusters look scary, you know, they would encourage people to commit crime, so ban them, ban them, ban them. No, my knives are perfectly legal in the UK, Doom Combom. Please find me a bit of legislation that says I'm not allowed to own these knives in my own house, because you won't be able to. I can't walk around on the street waving them about like that, but in terms of my own house, you're perfectly allowed to own them. S10's very good, Austin, but if you can get an Avon FM12 for cheaper, get the FM12 because it's actually a better mask. Yeah, and if you go around in the street waving a knife around, you deserve to feel the full force of the law. The thing is, what they shouldn't do is they shouldn't punish everybody else because somebody does a crime with a knife. They should just throw the book at somebody who actually stabs somebody with a knife. That's a better way of doing it. Punish the people who actually commit the crimes, not say to everybody, well, everybody needs to be punished now because one person did a bad thing. I thought you could get crossbows in Australia. Or is it just like you can't get crossbows, but you can get normal bows? It's a difficult one, Yamaha. I really don't know, to be honest. I think, to be honest, police should be armed, but a lot of police don't want to be armed because they have lots of rules here about, you know, if a policeman shoots somebody, there's an inquiry into it and all that, which is a good thing because you don't want the police just randomly shooting people. But that's the reason a lot of cops don't want to be armed police because of all the strain they're kept under. Oh, so regular bows, just not crossbows. Oh, you can get some very good regular bows, though. Oh, they don't even use Rambo knives, do they? That was a stupid thing because recently we were going, oh, it's the Rambo knives. Most of them use kitchen knives, right? Because kitchen knives are very cheap and disposable, and it's hard to trace a specific model of kitchen knife. If you bought like a generic, this isn't me trying to give advice to criminals, it's just stating the obvious. If you bought like a generic 6 to 10 inch, like butcher's knife, paring knife, whatever, from any supermarket, knife retailer or whatever, or you stole one, you killed somebody by stabbing them to death with that, and then you dispose of the knife, it's quite hard to trace the knife because it's such a generic knife. It's not like, you know, you're going, I'm going to use an FS knife to stab somebody to death because, yes, this would be actually more practical for killing somebody with, but it's a lot more traceable because it's more of a collector's knife. So, yeah, any kind of cheap cooking knife, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? Anyway, I'll be finishing the stream soon because I've gone over an hour. And as I said, if the weather's not raining, I'd like to go for a quick walk. Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? But the weird thing, Hype, is there's Chinese manufacturers that make crossbows and sell them. I guess they just can't domestically sell them in China. Yeah, I've done some videos hype with crossbows and NBC gear on. It's quite fun, actually. Yeah, they can, but the thing is, Iron Man, if it's a mass-produced knife and they are never able to find a specific knife because somebody's like broken it into parts and thrown it in different bins, they're never gonna track down the knife. That's the point. Forensics is good enough, but you still have to find the thing. As far as I'm aware, the black ones are a bit rarer, and I think the rubber's supposedly slightly higher quality, but I've never noticed a difference myself. Right. Let me Google all the masks. I know what the C50 and FM53 is. The M2000 sounds familiar, but I can't place it for some reason at the moment. Oh, the German one. Yeah, the German M2000. Out of all of them, I think the M2000 looks the coolest, but I think probably the M53 I'd find the most interesting out of all of them. I've got a gas mask test coming out tonight, technically, because my video tonight's on my Chinese panoramic mask, and I did do a test with banana oil. Yeah, it's like the dark green one. But anyway, I'll finish the stream now because I've gone over, and I've got stuff I need to do. Thanks for coming on, everybody. Thanks to the person who donated. You're on the Discord server now, but I always appreciate it because I said it always goes just towards military kind of surplus stuff, like showing videos. Oh, yeah, that's the point. You might have to wear other gloves on top of the NBC gloves. But yeah, cheers, Chris. Cheers, everybody. I'll check Discord later for those links you sent me about the radios because I am interested in that. But at the moment, if it's not raining, I do want to go out and get some fresh air and see if it will cheer me up a bit. Well, the stream's cheered me up a lot, so thank you, everybody. As I say, it's just at the moment because my UC seems to be coming back a bit. That can be quite stressful and painful. So Sunday will most likely be the next stream. Sunday around 8 or 9 p.m. I think probably 9 p.m. Sunday. UK time, that is. But yeah, see everybody. Thank you. It's been a good stream. Have a good day, everybody. And you'll see my regular videos coming out anyway, so see you then. All right. Bye, everyone.